Hey, Yvonne here with finally that highly requested Yvonne guide. She is a high damaging hypercarry unit that loves crit unlike anyone else. Sorry for the wait guys, I've been away on the main channel and I still self-produce all my videos. But anyways, today I'll explain her kit and how to get to that massive ultimate, and then move on to her best weapons and builds that I've tested and calculated for you all. I'll then finish the video with her synergies and some team compositions. So like and sub for more Arknights Endfield guides, share to anyone that might need help, and let's begin. Yvonne is a 6-star limited cryo striker operator and another balling DPS you can pull in Enfield's first version, even if she doesn't have a complete OP team just yet. Her main scaling stats are intellect and agility, and her ultimate cost, just like Levitain, is very high, hers being at a cost of 220 energy. Anyways, when leveling her up, I recommend focusing on her ultimate as it's most of her damage, followed by her basics, and then battle skill and combo skill close behind. So anyways, let's check out her abilities. She wants to consume inflictions and apply solidification, gaining large amounts of energy and enabling abilities and self-buffs, all in order to delete single target foes with a giant ultimate attack. Brr Bomb throws, surprisingly, a bomb onto enemies. If it hits an enemy with cryo or nature infliction, she consumes all of said infliction stacks and forcibly applies solidification. Remember, forced reaction applications that are based on infliction consumption scale on the amount of inflictions that you consume. That means if she consumes 4 cryo infliction stacks, she applies a status level 4 solidification. Interestingly, unlike Alesh or Arknight, Yvonne can also consume nature infliction to do so, being the first unit in the game with dual element consumption and allowing for a broader range of potential future synergistic teammates. Now, not only does the solidification applied from this battle skill scale on stacks consumed, but so does the damage dealt and the energy gained. We get an additional multiplier to our base amount for each infliction stack, and we also get a whopping 30 energy. This means if I consume 4 stacks of cryo on Yvonne, I can get the base 6.5, plus the extra 10 from the battle skill solidification, plus 120 from the 4 infliction stacks. As for her combo, she will toss her Frosty Friend towards the enemies and it'll pull in all weaker enemies and deal damage. To trigger this, the controlled operator, likely Yvonne herself, needs to perform a final strike on an enemy with solidification. Luckily, she can apply it in her battle skill, huh? This combo will also apply solidification, but since this has no consumption, it is stuck at a status level of 1. This is still fine though, we'll see why it's good in a little bit. This combo skill also gives more energy than the usual combo, giving us an extra 10 for 20 total. And finally, that ultimate forces Yvonne as the controlled operator and enhances her basic attacks for 7 seconds. She will spam out a stream of deadly bullets onto the enemy, stacking up critical rate and at max stacks a critical damage buff. This stacks up very fast though for 30% critical rate and 60% critical damage for subsequent basic attacks during this ultimate. When it ends, she will deal a strong final strike that gets all of the previous buffs, but if the enemy is solidified, which they should be from your kit, then we get an additional multiplier worth double that final strike's amount for a serious amount of total damage. This additional attack also consumes the solidification. So consume stacks, apply solidification, final strike, combo, tons of energy, eventually ult. But then her 2 talents make it even more fluid. After applying solidification in her battle skill with her barrage of technology talent unlocked, Yvonne will then get an instant final strike upon her next basic attack input, and it also gets a nice 50% damage buff. This means we can now consume stacks on battle skill, apply solidification, instantly final strike, and then combo. Her second talent makes solidification uptime even more important with a 20% crit damage self-buff against enemies with cryo infliction, or a 40% crit damage buff versus enemies that are solidified. Keeping it up during that ult is very important, and that's why that combo is important too. A solidification of status level 1 only lasts 6 seconds, but her combo has a delay to it, meaning you can final strike, combo, ult, and by the time your important basics come into play, the combo will grant the solidification buff. This is important to time, especially if you have potential solidification consumers on your team like Estella or Gilberta. Now, before we talk builds, gameplay, and more, let's quickly check out her dupes. Her first potential improves her combo skills radius, damage, and ultimate energy gain. The damage gain is quite negligible, but the radius can help in some AoE scenarios. As for the energy, it can vary from not necessary to really nice for comfort and a drastic improvement to your rotation speed. If you do a 1 combo ult rotation, then it's likely it won't help, but an extra 30 energy in 2 combo rotations means you shave off 1 skill usage and thus 100 SP and the setup time required in order to hit your ult. Then Pod 3 improves her talent even further, making solidification uptime even stronger and mandatory for optimal damage. Pod 5 finally buffs up her attack and crit damage during the ult. It's an alright boost to finish things off. Since Pot 1 can vary wildly in power, I won't be including its calculation this time, but Pot 2, 3, and 5 are all calculated here for you guys. As for builds, Yvonne is our first crit-loving operator, and so we will opt for the MI security set that stacks up attack percent, a strong stat, based on hitting critical strikes, as well as giving some extra critical rate on top. The generic 4-piece of overalls, PPE hands, and 2 toolkits works just great as a baseline for her. However, gearing her is a little weird. You could go for more crit for consistency up to a soft cap of 70%. It is less damage on average throughout a fight as we lose some damage percent and some attribute attack, but if you want consistency, again, PPE tier 1 gloves can replace your PPE gloves. For the kits, we get a 10% crit rate pre-artificing, which is a whole ton, but technically the most damage you would actually swap one for a Link Slab when she's maxed out, or for some energy rotations you can even swap it for a Redeemer Seal. Other than that, I wouldn't swap around gear. MI Security's passive is too good to ignore for non-set combinations and would only be worth dropping if a fight where you can barely attack comes into play, I guess. And Pulsar Labs does give damage percent after solidification, but its gear pieces are so stupidly weak for her that you should ignore this set entirely. As for weapons, her signature offers us a whole ton of crit rate and then a bajillion cry damage bonus. You gotta critically hit with her battle skill or combo skill to gain a stack, but the combo can hit multiple times and thus crit multiple times, and the buff stacks last 30 seconds long. If you are dealing with downtime on this buff, then that's where you can stick to crit rate main stats on her gear rather than swapping them around for basic attack damage or main attribute. In a prolonged fight, Navigator P5 comes close to her signature, much like Umbral Torch did for Levitain. Wedge at pot 0 is also not far behind, but Navigator pot 0 is also just fine. There are some other options, but if you're only going for Yvonne this patch, then you can pick up Navigator for free from the Battle Pass anyway. Just remember, calcs aren't perfect in this game, and a different rotation can change the performance of these weapons. One thing I like about Navigator and Wedge is that they don't need crits to activate their passives, so sometimes in unlucky situations, or I guess lucky situations with certain gear combinations, they can get even closer to the signature in performance since that signature needs crits on battle skills and combos. So overall, I don't think you need to pull her favorite guns even if they look nice. But once you've got a cool weapon, go out there and start pew-pewing those enemies. She is quite satisfying when you've got everything working. Unfortunately, that everything is a lot right now. She doesn't have great team options as we'll see just yet, and there are clunky parts to her kit like being able to easily miss some of her abilities and thus lose energy, or her ult lasting a short duration and needing the enemy to ideally not hit her at all, or her requiring more SP than even Lei and Last Ride to get to her ult in some cases. She's pretty single target focused too, unlike Lei who can scale tremendously in AoE. However, despite all that, Yvonne can slap all content right now as it's pretty chill so far. She can shred bosses when everything is set up at tremendous speeds, and she has 2 elemental combinations that can synergize with her for future operator releases. They just gotta come out. A Cryo-Chen will help out a lot, even if it will also help her rival Last Ride too. So to start on the team section, let's talk about how Yvonne gets to her ultimate. Yvonne's 220 energy can be acquired in 3 distinct ways. You can first opt for a 2 combo 2 battle skill rotation, which requires you to consume 5 inflictions of cryo or nature element. This can be 1 infliction consumed, then 4, or 2, then 3. This results in an overcap of energy though and a whole lot of inflictions from your team. So you could then opt for a 2 combo 2 battle skill rotation with 4 inflictions, but that is just shy of 220 energy, not considering returned SP making it a little less. You can use Redeemer Seal as a kit in this instance though to help confirm the ult. Now the second way of achieving her ult is a 3 battle skill 2 combo rotation, and here we only need to consume 4 inflictions, so 1-2-1 generally. We hit the ult cost without ult gain needed, and it can let us stall the rotation a bit more for landing stagger breakpoints or confirming ults on certain characters like Alesh. And the third way is a 1 battle skill 1 combo skill into ult rotation. With 4 inflictions and a Redeemer Seal as well as 3 ally battle skills, we can hit just about 221, and even with refunded SP giving us less energy, we can just artifice the Redeemer Seal's ult gain percent. This is much faster for ults, but won't necessarily align all buffs and stagger up as easily as extended rotations. I can't really say any setup is best as it can depend on the fight, since you want to align stagger and buffs for maximum damage, and your possible teammates change things up a lot too. For a generalist team, I would recommend Yvonne, Jaihi, Gilberta, and then a flex slot. Jaihi and Gilberta are kind of a must right now for Yvonne's true potential, and Jaihi you might as well always use since she's at least a 5-star operator. She buffs Yvonne's damage more than anyone else by far, can apply cryo herself, and can heal on top. Gilberta applies nature on her battle skills but also her ults, which means ulting every rotation on Gilberta means not only a big boost to Yvonne's ultimate damage, but also nature affliction on top to jumpstart Yvonne's next rotation with a 1 consumption battle skill. Our flex slots can be Alesh, Akakuri, Estella, Palika, Fluorite, Lastrite, and finally Snowshine. Alesh is here as a thermite cutter bot for free buffs, but he also gives some extra attack rarely in his P3 as well as generating a decent chunk of SP for the team, and Yvonne desperately needs SP. He can even run frontiers in some setups. Just make sure to not use this battle skill ever as it will consume our lovely cryo stacks when we want Yvonne to do so, but as a result it is just like Gilberta's, it's a free SP-less infliction for Yvonne to consume. His ult is also generated quite quickly thanks to his talent granting energy on every solidification application from Yvonne. I also like Gilberta Alesh in general for AoE mobbing as their ults combined can wipe the floor with a pack of annoying enemies. This team would Gilberta Infliction, ideally her ult, Yvonne Consume and Combo, Jaihi Combo Infliction, Yvonne Consume and no combo since it will be on cooldown, and then Alesh ult, Jaihi Combo again, Yvonne Consume and Combo again, giving us enough energy to ult. During this ult, we can then Gilberta ult again, giving our ult a large buff and providing that infliction for the next rotation. Rinse and repeat. Just make sure to Gilberta combo in between your battle skill and combo solidification so you have solidification up for the crit damage buff, and also make sure to final strike on Yvonne before pressing Gilberta's combo so that Yvonne can actually combo before Gilberta consumes the solidification with her lift. Akakuri is another SP and thermite cutter bot just like Alesh, but lacks the cryo infliction stacking. And Alesh applying a stack means a lot of the time you are saving 100 SP needed for rotations versus replacing him for an infliction-less character. On top of that, her link buff cannot be used for the ult just like it cannot with Levitain, but Yvonne does have pretty big multipliers on her high infliction battle skills, so it's not the end of the world. I think she's still good, especially since she's probably built for other teams like Levitain 1s or one-shot Abby 101s already, but Alesh feels better for Yvonne. In an Akakuri team, we would have to opt for more inflictions from Gilberta though, so likely a 2-1-1 with 3 battle skills and 2 combo skills from Yvonne. Estella can apply cryo inflictions on her battle skill at a cheaper amount thanks to SP refund, and she can also do some OK damage through high shatters thanks to Yvonne applying solidification. This team would play similarly to the Alesh composition and have Estella and then Gilberta combo after Yvonne battle skill for shatter plus lift into lift. Estella applying lift herself means Gilberta's ult also grows in power unlike other teams. Just be wary of Estella's ultimate also applying lift in case of physical susceptibility, which can again remove the solidification that Yvonne wants. Only use it if you're ever done with your Yvonne's full rotation. Palika is a high damage, high optimization option for this slot. Just like in some other hypercarry teams, she is brought in as a pure support bot, utilizing a full Arts Intensity build to bring a high power electrification debuff onto the enemies. She can also equip Stanza of Memorials for a large attack buff to Yvonne. For maximum damage, you'll need to align both Palika's combo skill Electrification and her ult in Stanza builds to be up during Yvonne's ultimate. Since we are performing a battle skill into Final Strike into combo before starting Yvonne's ultimate, Palika's combo can be conveniently activated in this small window, but aligning its cooldown can be tricky since we are spamming out Final Strikes before this final rotation happens, which can proc Palika's condition early. And Fluorite, despite her long combo cooldown, can help with cryo or nature inflictions in either her combo skill or ultimates. However, due to the reliance on needing 2 or more cryo or nature stacks, in these teams we'd opt for 3+2 infliction rotations rather than the 1+1+2 from before. This however means we can save on SP since we only need to do 2 battle skills on Yvonne rather than 3. So in a way, we are gaining SP in a different way to Alesh and Akakuri teams, though she doesn't provide any buffs unlike them. Finally, Last Rite is an option to replace Estella if you really want to use Yvonne Last Rite together. This duo is more of we have nothing else ready right now and not a proper synergy, and focusing on Last Rite in her own team would do more than putting her here. Even speedruns sacrifice Yvonne's ultimate gain to slam dunk enemies with Last Rite's Mega Cryo combo into ult, with Last Rite dealing more damage than Yvonne in this case. I won't just say you can't run them together because that's just a lie, but just know that they're not optimal. Snowshine can also run in this place as a safer sustain option that can also stop Yvonne from being interrupted in her ult, for instance, which can save you a lot of pain. And if you don't own Gilberta, then a free-to-play friendly team would be Yvonne, Estella, Alesh, Jahi, but it is pretty weak in comparison to the maximum Gilberta teams. You play similarly to the ones before with Estella, Alesh, and Jahi stacking up Cryo, Yvonne consuming it, Estella shattering, which enables Alesh's kit, and then Yvonne comboing to keep up solidification for her ult and other abilities. Again, be careful of Estella ults removing solidification. Until we get more operators, there aren't many free-to-play friendly teams, as we desperately need a cryo version of Chen or Wolfguard. So I hope you enjoyed finally seeing my Yvonne guide, and let me know if you pulled or are pulling Yvonne and what you think of her. Like and sub if you did enjoy the guide. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a guoba day.